Hey guys, welcome back to Million Dollar Standard. My guest today is Nick Pavlidis. He's the CEO and managing partner of PodFest, and we are fresh off from that event last week in Orlando. So, Nick is someone that I've had the privilege of watching lead behind the scenes through growth, seasons of pressure, moments that don't make it to social media because he's not super active on social media. But he's a business owner, a multi business owner, a publishing executive, and the creator of 5 Minutes with Dad, a podcast that has impacted families around the world, including my own. My kids like to binge listen to that. But Nick brings a rare mix of strategy, steadiness, and humanity into everything that he touches. And that depth of leadership is exactly why I wanted him on the show today. So, Nick, welcome.
Thanks so much. Couldn't have been nicer if my mother wrote it. So I appreciate you having me.
That's funny. Well, okay, you are holding multiple businesses at once. You're kind of this multifaceted guy. You do it with what we see on the outside is clarity and steadiness. I don't know if you're going crazy on the inside or people close to you see something different, but from what I see, you just seem really steady and certain in what you do. And a lot of people struggle to maintain that. Was there something that had to change internally for you to be able to lead at that level, or have you always just been kind of chill?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I would say is that I keep the vision simple. I don't have a lot of goals. I have a vision, and then I use that vision as a filter through which I make decisions. And I will explain to my team members what I'm looking for and why. So that way they understand how to make decisions on their own too. So I operate all the businesses with a one sentence business plan. And that's if I help enough people become successful, I never have to worry about my own success. And so I take that approach with how do I lead people? What's important to them? And how do like with a publishing company, how do I make independent authors become successful? What's important to them, number one, and what actually leads to success in terms of authors not needing day jobs. And so
Mhm.
basically everything I approach, every decision I make is filtered through the same one sentence business plan, just applied sometimes and in some ways to slightly different individuals or prospects for each business.
So it's so simple, but yet very effective.
Yeah, yeah. And so like with Podfest, we know that independent creators and my businesses are all for creators. It's for people who are in one way or another aspiring thought leaders. And so it's very intentional what I'm doing. Right now, many of them rely on my efforts, but I have that vision that someday if something were to happen to me, my wife is not going to be running Podfest. My wife is not going to be running Morgan James Publishing, but we can create it so they run without me and I can focus on my big picture things like building strategic relationships and then transitioning some of the revenue that these businesses spit off into real estate for them to operate in. And then if something were to happen to me, my wife can operate the real estate. So I keep one big vision and then try to keep the operations relatively simple and all pointed in the same direction. So anything I do impacts everything I do.
Yeah, that is a big vision. That's a really big vision. Is okay. I want to back up a little bit and talk kind of about like identity and foundation. So when you look back, was there a season where your external success, your business success outpaced like what you were ready for internally, like who you were?
Certainly. And it happens daily. Like even today, one of the businesses I own is a bookstore. And I designed this bookstore to fill a need in the market where authors can get credit for sales that they generate on their own website, but ship and order through my bookstore. That's the short story. And when I took over Morgan James a few years ago, I called representatives from more than 200 bookstores and told them my vision for a bookstore. Hey, it can be you, a bookstore that helps authors collect contact information, upsell people on additional products and services, but they just fulfill through you. We do it through a simple automation. Can you help? Nope, you can't do it. You're crazy. You're crazy. So I just did it myself. And so that's specific. And I don't spend a lot of time or effort marketing, partially because I want to make mistakes when no one's watching. I want to figure it out. I want it to be ugly when fewer people know about me rather than market the daylights out of something and have it collapse on itself.
Mhm.
And so even today, I had someone reach out to me and want to order 2,000 books from Simon and Schuster, and 300 of them need to be to individual people across the United States, and the other 1,700 need to be divided relatively equally to 6 organizations. I have no idea. And so it's gaining attention, and I'm on the phone with Simon and Schuster, on the phone with my book distributor. And so when things take off, I'm very frequently playing catch up, but I just am upfront with people and say, hey, this is fantastic. It's the first time I'm doing something like this specific one with this specific publisher. So if you can give me some grace, I'll solve the problem. And they're generally understanding.
Well, of course they are. Like you are so grounded in how you come across to and very you naturally create certainty for people. And I think that comes from, that like just who you are as a person, your energy, your integrity, like people see that. So, how do you then stay grounded? How do you stay that way when your responsibility, especially, this situation like today, keeps expanding? Like, what anchors you when the pressure is high?
I'm very, very purpose driven. And then I'm also a natural empath. So I know even when I'm hiring people, I know that I'm not just bringing in a marketing person or I'm not just bringing in an administrative person. When I used to work for other companies, I would rely on that revenue and the stability of that revenue for my family and for my family planning. And so when I think of the customers that we work with, and I think of the team members that we work with, it's not just I'm paying $2,000 a month for this consultant or for this service provider. It's, hey, this person is relying on my ability to continue to pay this. And so
Mhm.
I'm slow in making commitments to people because I don't want them to rely on me until I'm confident that they should rely on me.
Yeah.
And so generally it's moving as slow and deliberate as I can, but part of it is just really trying to put myself in other people's shoes because again, if they're successful, I'm successful. So I
Yeah.
don't want to sell anything. I want the first person that someone thinks of when they're trying to achieve something in the thought leadership space, whether it's podcasting, writing, or marketing, to be me. And then I could say, you know what? This is fantastic. I think we can help. I'm going to bring in Jody to do the Facebook stuff. I'm going to bring in whoever to do that piece. And in that way, they generally, I'm not a number with someone. I am a face, and they give me some grace knowing that I'm going to work my tail off, but I may make some mistakes.
Yeah. I remember we partnered on a pretty fun project together, along with Nuno, and that was super fun. I loved running in that circle with you guys. Podfest.
Yeah.
We just came off that event and oh my goodness, it was amazing as usual. That was my second time attending that event, and it's grown into more than an event, in my opinion. What do you feel like what kind of leadership standards did you have to protect as the community scaled? Like what's changed for you as you lead Podfest, as things have expanded?
Well, so this approach, and the approach comes across as part of that one sentence business plan, but the approach and the mindset and really the perspective that I come to things with, and specifically Podfest, lean back. I was a lawyer for 13 years before quitting the practice of law to become a writer, much to the excitement of my parents. But I've been doing that for more than 10 years, and I've yet to ask them for money. So now they're starting to think maybe writing and everything else I do could be a career.
As an entrepreneur, I feel that. My parents were like, "Huh?" And then, I'm like, not asking for money, so they're like, "You're probably doing okay."
Yeah. Yeah. And so I find myself doing two things that have been super helpful. And this is both with the team and the other stakeholders, like sponsors and potential sponsors, like attendees and potential attendees. I'm a little more open than many places about the realities of what's important to me and what's necessary for me to be able to get to yes with people. So that's one thing. And I can talk a little bit about that. The other thing is going back to my lawyer days. I consider myself an advocate on behalf of independent podcasters. And so when I'm talking with a sponsor and they say, "Hey, I want to go and I want a sponsored speaking slot and I want to talk about my product," I will tell them, "Hey, this is what my attendees want. If you can fit your product into this takeaway so they get value from it, great. If not, you're going to look bad. We're going to get complaints. Our attendees don't want it." And
Hmm.
so we say no to sponsors who we think we can't serve. They're going to show up and say, "Why am I here?" Because it's not a right fit for the pod fam, as we call them.
Right. The
And then there are other sponsors where like you really need to be, and it's not an upsell. It's what you have, our people want. For you to just do, this sponsorship, I don't think it's going to get you the attention you want. Sometimes we downsell them to something we think would be a better fit. Sometimes we say, "Hey, maybe you want to expand this a little bit because we think that this will help you become successful." We just
Yep.
did that with, and it wasn't even an expansion. We just did that with a company called Go High Level. And they said, "This is what we have as an idea. This is what's important to us." And I said, "Okay, that's fine. We can do that. But this year, I'm going to throw in this other thing that I think can be super, super valuable. It's a super small group of people, but I think they're ideal fits for what you're looking to build." And they're
Mm,
over the moon happy with that one little thing that I threw in. I said, "Normally this is this, but let me just show you because this is your first time at our event."
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's basically the approach is I'm an advocate on behalf of the attendees. And when I do that, I make good fits for, and I'm upfront. Like when people say, "Hey, how much is it to sponsor this?" I'll tell them, "This is my realities. This is our food cost. So I'm not just trying to get money from you, but help me get to yes on something that supports the attendees first, you
Hmm.
second, and fits within the reality of the PodFest commitment." They charged us $8,700 to plug in an LED screen for our main stage this year. And yeah, it cost us $10,000 because we're friends with the AV people to get the LED screen there. It was beautiful, right on the main stage.
Yeah.
And then the hotel's like, "Yeah, that's beautiful. You want to plug it in?" And we're like, "We kinda." And they're like, "Yeah, $8,700."
My gosh.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm
My
so I'm
gosh.
open with things like that, and that generally helps people understand that it builds trust because it's just the reality. Like, listen, we're not a big, huge margin business or anything like that. So if we can all pool our money together, we can put on a good event, and we
You
can
know,
feature.
if someone sponsored the plugging in and didn't like shoot a whole video, like I would be mad. So
I know, right?
yeah, oh my gosh, that's wild. All right, you have worked with podcasters, authors, creators of all kinds, entrepreneurs. What separates the people who build real authority and a real business that's making them money aside from those who just are creating content? What's the difference?
I'd say two things. Number one, the ones who are successful start with the end in mind. So they picture the life and business they want, and then
Wait,
they
the
work back.
vision, the Nick
That's it.
vision.
The vision, right? And then they say, "Okay, what do I need? Is what I'm doing right now, even if they don't have a step-by-step plan, but is what I do now likely to lead me there?" So you don't need to know every step. If you know the vision and you tell yourself, like, say your vision is to operate a seven-figure Instagram marketing business and you're reading books about customer relationships. Yeah, that can lead you there, but it's not ideal for Instagram, but it's customer relationships, and that's really important. If you're reading about X or if you're reading about Facebook, okay, it's tangential. If you're learning about Instagram, great. If you're getting in a room, like, should I go to this networking group? Is it likely to introduce me to the people I need to know to have my vision? And so you just keep asking yourself, is this consistent with leading in the direction I want? If you have
Mhm.
that vision and you use it as a filter, then you can move forward. So the people who are super, super successful, just naturally, they don't even do it intentionally. They just naturally have this either a written goal or a vision for the future, and they use it to say no to a lot of things. The
Mhm.
second thing that they do is they are consistent. They're more. consistent than they are fast. And so there are people like with a book launch, there are people who spend $250,000 on a book launch so they can make some bestsellers list and have enough marketing to sell enough books to just crush it. And then their marketing budget goes from $250,000 to zero. 2 months later, they're selling no books. I would much rather them spend $10,000 a month for 25 months. And if they did that, the same people would just be crushing it because of that
Mhm.
consistency. So the podcasters who you know the most, look at their episodes. They don't miss a week. The podcasters who are really cool people, but for some reason, just they're real passionate about what they want to do, they either are inconsistent or they don't do it with some end in mind that there's a profit for. And
Mhm.
so have that profit, start talking through ways people can engage with you, even if you don't have a product, affiliate with some companies and refer other people's products. So build the 2004 version of Google rather than thinking you need to wait to do anything until you can have this big organization. Like if when Google first came about, it was just a white page with an input and two buttons, and a lot and that started and grew into something that's just enormous today. So keep it simple, but keep it consistent with that vision.
With that vision in mind. Yeah, and I will say as a creator, as a podcaster, as an online business owner, events like PodFest are part of that vision. They're part of what get me to that vision because I understand that being in the room with certain people, networking and spending time with people, being introduced to people, like I met so many amazing people at PodFest and I met so many amazing people last year too. It's just in-person events just have such an amazing transformation or the possibility of an amazing transformation on your business. So Podfest is definitely one of those things to not miss. And I know there's like little pop-up events, being talked about. I want to talk about one of those locally. So I'm super interested in having a conversation about that. So, all right, you are running multiple ventures. What do you do personally to intentionally protect your energy and avoid burnout? Or is this just a show? Are you like operating on caffeine and no sleep?
I sleep well, I'm catching up on sleep because the week of PodFest, we're recording this, 4 days after PodFest ended or 5 days after PodFest ended. So I'm just about caught up, although I'm noticing in the gym, I still am dragging a little bit. But I generally, everyone knows that I'm in bed 8 o'clock. I'm asleep by 9 o'clock. And
Good for you.
I wake up 3, 4, 5 in the morning without an alarm.
No.
I will set an alarm, but I'll wake up, get ready, go to the gym, and then get to work. So I make sure I exercise. So every year, and every year I do one thing that challenges me physically and one thing that challenges me mentally. And so this year, one thing that challenges me physically is to go to the gym 365 times. I go to Orange Theory, and so go to Orange Theory 365 times this year. That doesn't mean 7 days a week for 52 weeks, but I'll do two classes in a row on Saturdays and then not go Sundays. If I have a week where I don't go because of Podfest, I'll double up on the classes twice a week instead of once a week. And it's just really to challenge me. It's kind of like that 75 hard where you do 75 straight days of double exercises. I'm taking a light version of that, but extending it for the whole year.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then the
yeah.
thing that
I just had to look at my app for my gym. I've booked 14 classes so far this year. We're on the 22nd, and then I was traveling for a handful of days. So it's not bad. It's
yeah,
not bad. I missed a couple of
yes,
days while at PodFest because,
well,
man,
that's
those
the thing.
West Coasters like they can party until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm
I
like
know, right? I know.
dying.
Yeah. And so that's the physical thing and so I do that partially to have some me effort, right? And have some me
Yeah.
time. And then the other thing I'm doing this year is I'm working through just one book. I used to read a book a week. I'm reading one book this year, and I'm going to read it over and over again. And it's all about systematizing and getting myself out of the day-to-day of my businesses so I can really focus on what energizes me even more, which is this big picture and working towards the vision and building strategic relationships.
Okay, so after hearing that answer, I might know the answer to this next question, but you might also surprise me. So, what's one boundary then that you won't compromise on anymore, even if it costs money or opportunity?
So doing two things, one with each of my kids. So we have season tickets to the Boston Celtics. We don't go to every game, so we sell a lot of the tickets. But my son at the beginning of the year picks the games that he wants to attend, and nothing will keep me from those games.
Mm.
And so we go to all those games. And then my daughter plays really competitive softball, travel club softball, and she is on a really competitive team. And a couple of years ago, they heard me encouraging the girls from the stands, and it was not just encouraging them. It wasn't coaching them from the stands, but encouraging them from the stands. And then, but you could tell that I kind of knew what I was doing because I used to play baseball, and they approached me about coaching her team. And so I'm one of the coaches on her team, and that's a 4 night a week thing, and that is tournaments all around the country. And so I have been doing that for 2 years now, and and I don't miss I did miss 2 practices because I was at PodFest, but I don't miss a practice.
Sure.
I stay late on practices. I tell the girls, if you want, you're going to work on what we want during practice. And if you want to stay for an extra half an hour, I'll stay and work on anything you want to work on. And
Hmm.
so for me, 4 nights a week, I'm doing softball or going to a Celtics game or something like that. And everyone who's a stakeholder in anything I do knows that that's that's Nick's time with his kids.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I mean, it's no surprise after hearing, the 5 Minutes with Dad podcast, just how great of a dad you are. And I've said it a few times in like introducing you to friends. I'm like, 5 Minutes with Dad, you have to go listen to it. It's so good. It's so good. So,
Thank you.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. If someone wants a bigger business or a more successful business, what do you think they need to raise? Like, what standard do they need to raise in order to accomplish that?
So I've spent a total of $22.55. It might be 15 cents. I don't remember, on marketing for my business since I started it, for my ghostwriting business, which was the first one that I started.
I hate that for me, honestly.
I know, right? Well, the reason I say that is because it doesn't prove 2 points, but it makes 2 points. One is focus on being um, not irreplaceable, but offer your customers something that technology, low cost alternatives, or ChatGPT cannot replace. Like, people are still paying me $75,000 to write a book when they can get words for free with ChatGPT. And 5 years ago, they would pay me the same thing when they could get someone to write a book on Fiverr for $2,000. And so why would they do that? Do I write that much better than other people? No. I mean, I write
I've
really
seen your
well.
writing. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I know, right? Well, actually, writing was my worst subject in school, and when I was a lawyer, they said, "Hey," but partially because I was a storyteller. But when I was a lawyer, they'd say, "You speak well." I literally never lost a case in 13 years of practicing law, and since then, I've helped a few people. I I dread it, but I've helped a few people with important cases. Still, to this day, never lost a case. Not because I was better or smarter, but I just did things differently. And I didn't write like a lawyer. I wrote like a storyteller. But I write well. I write fast. But I started with that same thing. Who are the people who have a budget who I want to help become successful? I don't just chase people with budgets for budgets, but like, who are the people who have a message or a method or something in the world that I really want to help spread? And then I help them answer questions they don't even know to ask. Like, when it comes to writing a book, the number one mistake authors make is not that they don't write a good book, it's that they write the wrong book. And if you write the wrong book, the worst thing that can happen is for it to be a runaway success because it's going to
Right.
attract the wrong attention, right? Like,
Yeah.
imagine you're running ads for somebody, and I know you do much more than that. And I keep going back to this example just because it's simple. But imagine you're running ads for somebody who has a bakery and you're like, come get our t-shirts. The attention is going to be wrong. They're going to be like, these ads are if they attract thousands of people, they're going to complain because they're
Yeah.
people
I mean,
looking for the
unless
wrong
you're
thing.
advertising to goats, people don't eat t-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the number one mistake people make is, and I do the same thing. Like, literally, I'm like a parrot. Every single whatever I do, someone comes to me for a book. I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to begin with the end in mind, and then we'll work our way backwards, and we'll start writing the book that you need to write in order to achieve that success. I don't want you to document where you've been. I want you to write the book that gets you where you want to go. And so those are things that ChatGPT can't do. And then I do math with them for low cost. Like, how do I not keep just dropping my prices when words get cheaper and cheaper? I tell people, I don't charge you for the words. I charge you to help you become successful. The book is just the deliverable. So let's do some math. If you hire someone for $5,000 to write a book, how much do you think they need to feed their family? $50,000 a year? $100,000 a year? Let's just say $100,000 a year before taxes so they can feed their family. That means they have to write 20 books in a year. How much attention do you think they're going to give you and your book?
You're
right?
a
And so I
number.
just do math with them. And so if someone's looking to become successful, really identify who are the people I want to help become successful, who value having that personal touch, move upstream, and then give away the downstream stuff.
Yeah.
People like I have a whole bunch of resources. The documents I use to help people write book, I have a nonfiction book planner and I have a book writing template. People email me all the time saying, "Hey, where do you recommend I go? I want to write a book for you. Like Jody told me to reach out to you. I just don't have the budget." I give them my templates and say, "Just do this. This is all I do. This is what people pay me $75,000 to do." And so serve people so well. And then the second thing is, um, one of our mutual client who we worked with, he has a phrase that says, "Listen, I'd love to give you referrals, but you got to be referable." And
Mm,
so when you connect me with someone, like let's say you refer me to someone who wants to write a book or who wants to publish a book with Morgan James or who wants to potentially sponsor PodFest or come to PodFest, when I go into that call, it's not to serve Sally well, although it is. I have two goals that are tied for first. One is to serve them well, but the other one is to make you look good for referring me. And so I want them to call you and say, "Where do you find this guy?" And when you have that, then you can generate this momentum for your business where it's okay if you're upfront with people and say, "I haven't done this before, but I'm going to make like my first book." I said, "I've never written a book before, but I literally am going to get a book that walks through how to write a book and I'm going to apply it to your case and and I'll work my tail off until you like your book. Deal?
mhm.
Deal."
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, what season of leadership are you in right now? Like, what's being asked of you in this chapter of everything that you have going on?
I'm in a little bit of a transition period because part of the reason that I had the opportunity to invest in Podfest and Morgan James is because people wanted not my money or anything like that, but they wanted me and they had known me. And so my initial, and even in the businesses that I start, like the bookstore, everyone is used to having me involved. And I have started training up people to take over and investing rather than investing in expanding the business. It's
Mhm,
investing in buying back my time, so to speak, which is the
mhm.
book Buy Back Your Time that I'm reading this year. I've read it before, but I'm really studying and applying it. So I'm in a little bit of a season of transition by being, instead of being the operational leader, to be the organizational leader.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. It requires you to be a different person. It requires you to show up differently. Sometimes you're giving away even autonomy of your time, right?
Yeah.
In order to be that next level. It's so cool. Okay, rapid fire and then we're going to close. What's one habit that you refuse to give up no matter how busy life gets?
Being consistent with my kids. Just being there and having a conversation with them, asking them silly questions, and just as doesn't matter how old they are, just being present with them.
Only takes 5 minutes.
That's it. That's it.
What is one marketing belief that you have changed your mind about?
I used to not like any advertising, and what I've
Why are
found
you
is
here? I'm just
I
kidding.
know, I know, right? Well, because I want people to come to me not because of my offer. I want a relationship-based business. But even with someone like me who's relentlessly relational, those even the reminders to make profitable reminders where you have a funnel, you have an offer that converts, and independently you're building an email list of people who have paid even $7 for something rather than freebies is so, so valuable.
Yeah.
And so I've definitely changed my mind on that. And it enhances if someone sees I had a former ghostwriting client and I've had more people hire me for multiple projects than just one project, which is really cool. But they have said, "Hey, I was on Facebook and I saw your face. How's it going? Let's catch up." And
Yeah.
so I think as part of an ecosystem, as opposed to relying on it because Facebook can change their algorithm, they can triple their prices or whatever.
Yep. Yeah,
It's
absolutely. I
this
actually
to the point.
recorded a whole podcast episode on something that I created and I called the $1,000,000 Nurture System, which does include podcasting and short form content to intentionally nurture people that come in through your ads
Mm,
so that you do build that relationship with them. And I'm telling you, I had someone see my ads, they went to my book a call page, but didn't book the call, retargeted them with this nurture strategy. They went to that page, consumed this intentional content, booked a call. I think I spent a total of $30 on acquiring this booked call. And then they actually signed up to work with me. And they're like, I felt like I knew you already.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing that I like about how you work with people when it comes to marketing. There's an old saying that if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so what you do is you're really good at a number of different things, but you help them find a marketing solution rather than trying to fit them into this is what I do.
Yeah, I can't do cookie cutter, that actually makes me nauseous. So I develop, the custom strategy for each client
Yeah.
because, it depends on what they're doing. So, okay, what is one thing that you used to overvalue but now you see differently?
My impact on specific outcomes. So I used to there are still ways where and actually this happened on that book that you and I worked on where I wrote every single word for the first 4 chapters and then we needed to speed up the project. So I had someone on my team write the first draft of chapter 5. And I read it and I'm like, it's good, but let me just forward it till I made any and that's part of how we work is like, give me a half draft and I'll send it to the client. And the half draft was way more than a half draft, but I was running low on time. I looked at it and I said, okay, this is good enough to send to the client. It's not what I would have done, but it's good enough to send to the client. And wouldn't you know, the client literally calls me like an hour later and says, hey, I just want to let you know this is the best chapter yet.
No,
So
know who this is too. So
yes,
that's kind of
I was like,
hilarious.
thanks,
I
buddy.
actually thought you were gonna say the reverse. "Hey, this is terrible."
Oh, no, it was very
Plot
humbling, and
twist.
so yes, yeah. So I used to be like, "I need to touch everything," but no, the client wants that result, and there are other people and there are other ways to do things, and so
So
80% done is better than 100% perfect, and then sometimes you find out that 80% is perfect and you're the done one,
you're the
so
done one. You are
yeah,
cooked.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Alright, what's one non-negotiable standard that you have in relationships?
I don't do anything for money. And so my relationship needs to be mutually beneficial. I don't care how much you pay me or how much value you bring. If you're not on board with the vision, then I don't want to work with you.
Yeah, love that, and thanks for coming on this show without me having to pay you because I don't do that either. So,
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
alright, so if PodFest reflects you, what part of it do you think it reflects the most?
The
What part of
community building.
you does it reflect the most? Yeah.
Yeah, I am 100% relational. I don't like to be in front of the camera, but I just like to make connections for people and I like to build relationships with people. And what I love about Podfest is our corporate attorney was one of the volunteers, literally in a volunteer shirt walking around. I'm trying to convince him to wear that shirt when we do legal work so that way I don't have to pay him. But to this day, he refuses,
Is
but
that the
it's
same
funny.
guy that is working with the Purple It Up?
Possibly Jack Baldini.
I think so, yeah. He was in that event and, yeah, really nice guy.
Yeah, great guy, and, like, he's someone drops a napkin, he's picking it up off the floor, and so, like, there's no better thans, there's no every year, we have 2,100 registered attendees this year, so, like, you're gonna find a few oddities where someone's selling from the stage or whatever, but the community polices itself, and that's what I like, I'm picking up trash if something falls, like, you roll up your sleeves not because you're you're trying to save money and not hire people to do it. So you're like for me trying to buy back my time. I'm not going to walk by something on the floor and say, "Oh no, that's not my job. I need to delegate that stuff." But like when the community just takes care of each other and takes care of itself. We have
Mhm.
someone, Tom Fox, and I think he's an attorney in Texas, but he has paid for hundreds and hundreds of people to attend Podfest. He is the number one donor to our Pay It Forward program to help college students or people in need be able to attend Podfest.
I love that. I didn't know that that program existed, and I absolutely love that, especially hearing like, there's some other big conferences where I've heard people say, like, "I had to sleep on the floor of the hotel," and you guys are making a way for that to not have to be a thing, so
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, we have attendees who buy 1 extra ticket, 5 extra tickets, and then there are people like Tom who buys thousands of dollars worth of tickets every year.
Incredible, incredible. That is a real reflection of you. It really is, in the community that you're building around PodFest. So this has been such a powerful conversation. I want to wrap it up here a little bit, and I just want to thank you for the way that you lead and the standards that you hold. It's a really great example for entrepreneurs who want to build something meaningful and sustainable.
Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate you, and
You are
I'm
so
so
welcome.
excited I got to hang with you twice in person
Yes.
at
Yes,
PodFest.
but you were holding up the wall instead of dancing, and that's
Yeah,
slightly
I'm about as
disappointing
cool
to
as a
me.
broken fan.
And you tell the best dad jokes. All
Thank
right.
you.
If anybody wants to learn about Podfest, can you tell us where they can find it, where they should go,
Yes.
anything like that, or anything else that you want to promote?
Yeah, podfestexpo.com is the website, and you'll see you could join our mailing list where we'll let you know when tickets are available right now as we speak. I know this episode is going to be releasing soon. We are offering people who didn't get a chance, really, even if you didn't get a chance to go to Podfest, the ability to purchase our recordings.
Mm.
And as part of that, we'll deliver the recordings as soon as they're processed, usually sometime in February. And then you get a free bonus ticket to join us in person at 2027. So it's the cheapest way to get to PodFest, and it comes with some cool bonuses there.
Yep.
So if you go to PodFest Expo, you'll see it'll say tickets up top, and you click on that, you can get that. And if
That's
someone's looking to
amazing.
publish a book, Morgan James Publishing is a great publisher, and I'm very biased. So you can go to mortgagepublishing.com. And my email for both is so nick@podfestexpo.com. If you want to reach out to me, that'll get to me.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you so much. And all right, guys, this has been another amazing episode of the $1 Million Standard. And we're talking to entrepreneurs who are grounded, focused, and fueled, and understand that you have to understand what is required of you to become that person that you need to be in order to have the business that you really have that vision of having. So thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you again next week.